Initially, I wanted to utilize a brick. I was gonna bring a bunch of bricks and stuff them in my book bag to represent different levels of struggle, pain, strife. A lack of imagination is literally the only thing to stop you from understanding the level of negative effects that happen to a lot of people when it comes to mental illnesses. The problem is not only because of the mental illnesses, but the fact that a lot of men who seek out help for mental illness actually get pushed to the side. Whew. Sorry, this is a little emotional for me. Somebody I knew in life, very, very important man, took a lot of his teachings in place for this actual presentation. And I did take the writer's liberty to actually add him as a interview throughout the stories that I've heard and talked to him about. Very strong man, very, very proud. And he spent a good portion of his life, almost the entirety of it, dealing with different types of mental issues at different levels, starting from his childhood because he was overweight. He was significantly beaten by his father. The types of jobs and careers that he wanted to accept in his life, he wasn't permitted to because the stigma around men holding certain positions in certain jobs wouldn't allow him to take that position as far as his father's concerned. So he went from the mental state of body dysmorphia, then the lack of love that he was growing up with, and went to what he called a suicidal state without having the courage to end it himself. So he joined the U.S. Navy during the time frame of Vietnam. And his words, not mine, the exact reason I joined was to die. Well, unlucky for him, he made it through Vietnam with a few injuries and then he came out, but then he had his first son. Now the problem here is, imagine having a child, holding that child, trying to love that child, but feeling nothing inside for that child. At this point in his life, he had asked several times for help. He had gone to people, he had gone in everywhere he could, and everybody told him basically the equivalent of rub some dirt on it or pick yourself up and keep going. So he continued on doing the best that he could, eventually developed schizophrenic disorder, also became manic bipolar. And then on top of all that, years down the line, he started developing flashbacks. Due to this, his poor son had to undertake a lot of very hard trauma, specifically getting beat, but looking in his father's eyes and realizing his father's not there. It was a very surreal concept to try to contemplate. So, because of this story, and I'm sorry for the introduction taking this long, I felt the necessity to go in to try to stop this stigma. Oddly enough, throughout this entire thing, I have some statistics here. It would have been better if I'd have did it in a PowerPoint, but 90% of people who die by suicide have experienced symptoms of mental health conditions. The problem with that is 78% of all those people who had daily suicides were men. Now, the percentage of actual men who seek help for their suicides is only 37.4%. The problem with that isn't just the fact that there aren't places to go, because we all know if we have any type of stress or mental issue or something, a lot of times we can just go to our friends. Our friends or our family are more than happy to help us. But the issues that here reside were the fact that the stigmas that hold on tight around the concept of men and mental health have never shifted. The concept of what women are supposed to be, what children are supposed to act, have all shifted. I'm not going to always say that they shifted for the good reason, but they have shifted. But the concept of what men are supposed to be and how they're supposed to react and what they're supposed to represent not only has stayed the same, but has become more stringent to the point where we don't even help ourselves anymore. We don't help each other in a mental capacity. We just are. So the point of this all is that yes, we can go and we can talk to people and say we need more medical professionals, we need more people to help. But until that stigma is broken, there's not much that we're going to do, because people are not going to want to step forward and ask for the help themselves. So for the implementation, I went to the Stop the Stigma event, and I believe we contacted 65 people. But that number wasn't the number that was relevant to me. The number that was relevant to me is 100% of the people that I talked to all had these similar stories. It changed the whole concept of what I wanted to write for this paper, because they all had their personal stories, and each one was as sad as the next. But for them, they had a positive outcome because they found people and they found a place they can go and they can talk. What I'm hoping and what I want from this whole scenario and situation is to know, or not to know, but to plead that all we need to do is stop the stigma. And to do that is very simple. We just need to shine light on it. So for companies like Disney and Paramount, any of these people who make movies and have a reach for everybody, who are opening the world for cultures that don't have voices for themselves, don't forget to open the world for cultures that don't know how to use their voice. The reason why this whole thing is, and this is obviously my conclusion, but the reason why this is so personal for me and why it's actually hard and why I sound like I'm gonna start crying in 30 seconds is because the man that I was referring to was my father. Due to the lack of knowledge, and even after watching everything he went through, I've been through several nervous breakdowns myself. Because of my past, I have issues. And if it wasn't for my friends, specifically those here today and those who I have on my phone, I probably wouldn't be standing here. So please help us stop the stigma, and thank you.